This video is for my younger self, the student who was failing school, who was getting C's and D's, who had doubters, who had people telling them that you will never actually end up getting the ATAR that you want to get, and who was able to defy all those odds, all those doubters, and achieve a 97 plus ATAR. This video is to my younger self who had no one there to actually show them what to do, okay? In this video, I'm going to go over the top things I wish I knew earlier when starting my academic comeback journey. Now, just to be very clear, when I say I wish I knew this earlier, I'm trying to say it in a way that, like, if I knew it earlier, it would have been easier, if that makes sense. So I did do this. It's not like I didn't do this. I did. It's just, if I found that earlier, it would have made the journey so much easier, okay? So this is gonna be a very short tactical video. Please get your pen and paper ready, take down notes, because this stuff is like it's so important, okay? And if you can nail these things down, you will be able to achieve any ATAR that you want. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. These are in no particular order. It's in no priority, right? They're all equally as important. So yeah, just pay attention. Let's go. So the first thing I wish I knew is, and this is so important. Let me just get a different color here. The first thing I wish I knew is that without a why, it's impossible. So when I was doing bad in school, so from year 7 to 10, I never had a why to do the thing in the first place, right? I never actually had a reason to do well in school because I didn't care about school. I didn't care about the ATAR. I didn't care about my future. And because I had no why, it was impossible to achieve the results I wanted to get. It was impossible to study. It was impossible to become a person who's disciplined. It was impossible to not be lazy, right? And that's a lot of students nowadays. A lot of people, they try to push themselves to do things, right? They try to become more disciplined. They try to lock in. They try to stay more focused. But the thing you need to understand is that you cannot do it if you don't know why you're doing it. This is such a simple concept that, to be honest, like, I'll be honest with you, it took me ages to understand, right? But this is why I'm telling you this video is so important, because it shouldn't take you long to understand it, especially if you're watching this, right? But there's a quote that goes, if you know your why, then you can endure any how. Meaning, if I know why I want to do something, then it doesn't matter how long I have to study, I will do it. It doesn't matter what I have to do, I will do it. It doesn't matter how uncomfortable it is that I'm doing, I have to do it either way. So that is why it is extremely important that you know why you're doing it. So right now, like, I want you to start thinking to yourself, why do I even want to make a comeback? Why? Why do I even want to get that ATAR? Whether it's an 85, 90, 70, I don't care what the ATAR is. Why do I even want that ATAR? Why do I actually want to make my parents proud? Why do I actually want to get into that university? Keep asking yourself why, okay? In fact, there's a specific exercise that I get my students to do, and it's called the 7 levels of why. And what that basically is where you continuously ask yourself why, until you find your core emotional driver, right? So for example, I want to get a 95 ATAR. Why? So I can get into the university I want. Why? So I can make my parents proud. Why? Because they've done so many things for me. But why does that even matter? Because they are the reason why, blah, blah, blah. You just get the point, right? The deeper you know why, the stronger your why is, then I promise you, you will do anything to achieve your goals, okay? That's the first thing I wish I knew earlier, okay? And again, I did end up figuring this out. It took me long to figure out, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is cause and effect. So when you see someone with a certain thing that you want, right? Let's say you see someone who gets a 95 ATAR. What most people do in this world, right? With anything, doesn't matter if it's an ATAR, it can be the same for someone who drives a car that you like. It can be the same for someone who has the body weight you want. It can be the same for someone who has 6-pack abs and you want 6-pack abs. Doesn't matter what the thing is. The thing you need to understand is that what you see is just the effect of a cause. Meaning, you might look at me, for example, who got a 97 ATAR, right? You might look at that ATAR and be like, damn, he's just so smart. How does he do that? But the thing you need to understand, and I'll get another color to illustrate this, is that this ATAR right here is the effect. This is the effect. This ATAR right here is the effect of something. And this is where the thing clicked for me personally. This clicked for me around the middle of year 11. There is a cause behind this. There are things that are happening that led to this ATAR. That's the thing most people don't understand. Most people look at the result, the effect, whether it's an ATAR, car, money, weight, fitness, looks, doesn't matter what it is. They look at the effect of it and are like, oh man, I don't have that. Oh, I'm just stupid. But the thing you need to look at is not the effect. You need to look at what is the cause of that effect. In other words, me, right? It's so funny, right? When I got a 97 plus ATAR, specifically 97.9, people called me smart. People called me genius. People called me like built different. Little do they know, I studied 8 to 10 hours a day, right? I sacrificed a lot of things, right? I studied in holidays. I, removed bad habits, etc., etc., etc. So that is the cause that led to the effect of what you see on paper, which is a 97 ATAR, 97 plus ATAR, right? And this is something you need to understand because I'm sick of seeing students put other students on a pedestal. They are not any better than you are. If you know someone in your class right now who is doing so well, they're not smarter than you. They're simply doing something, cause, that's giving them a better effect than you. And I'll give a really good example of this, right? Before I move on to the next thing. A lot of people who do bad right now, right? So let's say you're watching this video and you're not happy with the marks you're getting, okay? If you're not happy with the marks you're getting, right? Let's say, for example, you're getting like, I don't know, C's and D's, okay? C's and D's, hypothetically. If you're getting C's and D's, you need to stop being so upset by it and calling yourself stupid. And you need to start asking yourself, okay, the C's and D's are the effect, right? What is the cause? Why am I getting C's and D's, right? So what's the cause? And the cause would be, without me even meeting you, I mentored hundreds of students, so I know it's a common pattern. The cause is the fact that you're not studying right. The cause is the fact that you're not disciplined. You have a poor mindset, etc., etc., etc. So it's not because you're stupid. It's not because you don't know what to do. It's not because you're retarded, right? It's because you're not studying properly, you're not disciplined, you have a poor mindset, and that's why you're getting bad results. So stop putting yourself down and start fixing the cause. And once you fix the cause, you will fix the effect. Same thing with someone who's overweight. If you look at someone who's overweight, right? Instead of saying like, oh, wow, I feel bad for them. Like, wow, like how did they get so, like they didn't just spawn overweight, right? Unless they actually did, it's a different story. I'm talking about people who are actually overweight from scratch, right? They ate a lot. They didn't exercise. They had a sedentary lifestyle and etc. So the effect is what I see, but the cause is what led to it. If you see someone in a, I don't know, Lamborghini or something, that's just the effect. They didn't spawn with that car. They did something, the causes that led to the effect, that led to the getting money and whatever, okay? That's the second thing. This is a very important life lesson. Where is my rubber? Right? Very important life lesson. That's second lesson right there. Second thing I wish I knew earlier, because all my life I used to be like, oh man, like how do the people do so well in school? How do they get such good results? How do they learn so fast? I didn't understand at the time, right? Third thing I wish I knew earlier is, oh my goodness, this is so important. And I'm so grateful I learned this. Mindset is everything, okay? So from year 7 all the way to year 10, if someone ever told me that you need to fix your mindset and that's why you're not successful, I would literally laugh at their face. Because back then, the word mindset used to genuinely piss me off. I hated that word. And the reason why I hated that word is because I would always think that it's just some woo-woo crap, doesn't make sense, it's just some lie that people tell you. But let me tell you something very carefully. Let me drill this in your head and do not let your stubbornness reject this. Your mindset is everything. No matter how smart you think you are, no matter how gifted you think you are, no matter what subjects you're doing, I don't care what you do. It doesn't matter how hard you study. If your mindset is that of a low-performing student, you will always get low-performing results. Did you know that lottery winners, I don't know the exact statistic, but lottery winners, the people who win the lottery, most of the time, they end up going broke again within 5 to 10 years. So that lottery winner who wins 5, 2, $10 million almost always goes broke within the next 5 to 10 years. Why? Because although they've got money, their mindset, their psychology, their beliefs, the way they see the world is still that of a broke person. So they always go back to zero no matter what. That's also why, do you know those shows, what's the show called? It's like Biggest Loser. It's like a bunch of fat people who try to lose weight. Did you know that people on that show who do end up losing weight, who end up going from this to this, did you know they almost always regain the weight? Why? Because their mindset is that of a fat person, full stop. So this is something that I realized in year 11. When I started year 11, I thought that this crap didn't matter. So what I did was I just locked in, right? I just studied very hard. I woke up very early. I'd done everything I could and I still did so bad. And at the time I was like, am I just like, there's something wrong with my brain? But that's when it clicked. I realized I read a book specifically called Mindset by Carol Dweck. Completely changed my life. Your mindset is everything. Why? Because the actions you take are dictated from the mindset that you have, right? So for example, if you have the beliefs, by the way, mindset is pretty much just a collection of beliefs that you hold about you, the world, and etc. Okay? There's a whole video on mindset. I'll link it somewhere up here. I've spoken about this in depth. But basically, let's just put it simply. If you have the mindset of someone who performs well in school, then you're able to do the actions of someone who does well in school, which leads to good results. Think about it right now, right? If you're not doing well in school right now, think about this. Do you often avoid the hard work? Most likely. Do you procrastinate? Most likely. Do you avoid doing past papers? Most likely. Do you, whenever you get stressed out and scared, do you just run away from the work? Most likely. How do I know this? Because that's the mindset of a low performer. So fix this mindset, then everything else will fix itself. I'm gonna have 3 more lessons. 3 more things I wish I knew earlier. Number 4, the 4th thing that I wish I knew earlier is that content is not the problem. If you're doing bad in any specific subject, you need to understand that you're not bad at the subject. What you are bad at is the things that are surrounding the subject. In other words, how you study for it, how you learn it, how you prepare for it, how you structure your responses in it. That's the only reason why you're doing bad in the subject, right? And that's why, for example, and I'll give you an actual example to illustrate this point. When I started my academic comeback journey, again, start of year 11, somewhat like that, I was on a spree of getting tutors. I got tutors for all my subjects. You know, I was like ready to go. I bought some state rankers notes. I got textbooks and I was like, I'm good to go, right? Why did I still do so average? Because the truth is, content is not the problem. If you're doing bad in biology, it's not because you struggle with biology. It's because the way you study for biology, the way you prepare for an exam, the way you think about it is wrong. And I'll give you a very good example of this. Think of an exam that you've done recently that you didn't do well in, right? Just think of any exam that you did not do well in. Be honest with me. Was it the content? Meaning, before you walked into that exam, did you feel like, oh my God, I don't know anything? Probably not, right? You walked into that exam feeling like you knew everything, but yet when you got the results back, they were still shit. Why? Because content isn't the issue. And that is why it's actually crazy, right? I speak with parents and students every single day. Every single day I speak with parents and students, and every single low performing student that I speak to always tells me that we've had tutors for years and I'm still failing. Why is that? It's because it's not the content, right? And that's why, for example, I put the result on my screen right here. I've had students who've joined my program. I don't do any tutoring, by the way. Dux Academy, there's no tutoring involved. But tell me why I have students who join and go from 30% to 98% in math, to 30% to 88% in math, from 30% to 80% in society and culture, from 45% to 95%, from 60% to 95%. Like, tell me why I'm able to do this without any tutoring. Because content isn't the issue. We have ChatGPT, we have textbooks, you have teachers. There's no reason not to bloody know the content. You even have YouTube. So why is it that you're still doing bad? Why is it that everyone has the same access to the same information, yet you're failing and someone else is getting top results? Because the way you think, behave, and study for the subject is wrong. It's not the subject itself. You do not enter this world, do not leave your mom, right? And just have a gene encoded in your brain that says, this guy sucks at biology. Doesn't work like that, okay? So, in other words, fix yourself, it's not the content, okay? And if you want to learn how to do this, by the way, first link in the description. The fifth thing that I wish I knew earlier is to be extraordinary, do what ordinary people don't. A lot of people tell me, I want to achieve a high ATAR, but I don't do high scaling subjects. I don't go to a good school. Teachers say I can't do it. In other words, they're asking me, how do I do it when I have so many things against me? You have to be extraordinary. I was extraordinary. I had low scaling subjects, 300 plus ranked public school, all that stuff. Failing from D7 to 10. I was able to go from that to 97 plus ATAR. Extraordinary, right? It's not hard to do, but at the same time it is. I would explain. To be extraordinary, to achieve things that people say is impossible to achieve, you have to do what ordinary people don't. Ordinary people sleep in on the weekends. Ordinary people play games every day. Ordinary people scroll all day. Ordinary people cram. Ordinary people don't go out of their way to learn how to study properly and invest in themselves and change themselves. Ordinary people don't take action. Ordinary people talk but don't actually do anything. Ordinary people don't do anything in the holidays. You get the point, right? So if you want to be extraordinary, it's actually very simple. Look at what ordinary people do and do the complete opposite. For example, in my case, I saw that people don't study on the weekends. So like, you know what? Let's actually study on the weekends. You know what? Let's study even harder on the weekends. That's the first thing. Another thing is that I realized that ordinary people sleep in on the weekends. Okay, let's wake up at 5 a.m. on the weekends, etc., etc. To be extraordinary, do what normal people don't do, okay? And yes, you're gonna be called crazy. Yes, you're gonna be called things, but at the end, they'll be asking you for help, right? And then finally, the sixth thing that I wish I knew earlier is, get ready for this one. Get ready for this one. The sixth thing that I wish I knew earlier is that you must outwork everyone. I'm sorry, there's just no way to say it. In order to succeed, you need to outwork everyone. It takes hard work. And you might be thinking like, how is that something you didn't know earlier? I didn't. I thought you could get away with doing bare minimum. I thought you could get away with doing hardly anything. It's not true. If you want to succeed, you need to work hard. It is all about hard work. It is all about working harder than anyone else in the room. And if you can do that, then I promise you, you will succeed. But guess what? Here's the best part. Even if you don't succeed, you will be at least proud of yourself that I've done everything I can, right? There's a motivational speaker who I listen to. His name's Eric Thomas, absolute legend. He always says, put your 120% effort. And truly, truly try to do this. Truly try to do this. Like work to the point where people call you a tryhard and a nerd. Just keep doing it. And that's how you're gonna succeed. And even if you didn't succeed, you still would have succeeded, because guess what? You can at least finish being like, you know what? Yeah, maybe I didn't get the ATAR that I really wanted to, but damn, I worked my ass off. And that's why I told myself, when I finished Year 12, I didn't really stress about the ATAR because I genuinely put everything on the table. Thank God I did end up achieving the ATAR that I wanted, even higher. But the point is, even if I didn't, thank God I did everything I can, okay? So those are the 6 things I wish I knew earlier. If you want my help personally with helping you make an academic comeback so you can achieve the ATAR that you want, check the first link in the description, Spots Unlimited. I'll see you in the next one.